Hey, what up guys? Welcome to this video. We are going to be discussing Syndra's hardest matchups and how we can win them. We're going to be starting off with Leblanc. So Leblanc is a hard matchup for Syndra because of her mobility and because she's a bit of a lane bully. She wants to trade onto you all the time. And since we don't have the strongest early, it can sometimes be a bit overwhelming to play against a good Leblanc. So what is our strategy into Leblanc? First of all, we can play both fast or slow. So we can play to skill with first strike and we can play with Airy and actually win against the LeBlanc. Both is possible depending on what you want to do. So what I always do is I always opt in for Airy because I feel comfortable beating the LeBlanc. The only problem that I sometimes run into is the jungle matchup. So why do we take this rune page? We take Airy because we can then trade auto attacks and win against LeBlanc. And we trade bone plating to kind of mess with LeBlanc's trading patterns because LeBlanc wants to jump in with her W. If we have bone plating, it negates a lot of her trading power. LeBlanc is a burst champion. So we are also opting in for, I would always go Corrupting Potion because it's going to be a heavy trading matchup. LeBlanc wants to force trades. But if you're not too comfortable on that heavy trading style, you can also opt in for Dorans and you should still be completely fine. So how are we going to play the waves? Ideally, we get a minion lead and use that to punish Leblanc on her CSing. That cannot always happen due to sometimes there being some jungle matchups that make that tough. But if we can, having a minion lead is very good because we can then use the time when the enemy Leblanc is CSing to actually hit her with a few abilities. If we're playing it slow, we want to make sure that the wave actually never goes towards Leblanc's side and keep it neutral or slightly on our side because our trading power is just so much worse. So how do we need to use E in this matchup? In this matchup, in my opinion, we should only use E defensively unless we are in a non-threatening situation or LeBlanc messed up her W. So a few things to keep in mind about that is our E is 17 seconds cooldown. LeBlanc W starts at 18 and then scales down towards 10. So at the beginning we're going to be at the same time and we can just literally hold it for a W, but the longer the lane goes we got to be a bit more careful with our windows. So if we then use our E for LeBlanc's third level W, we got to understand that there's 3 seconds where she can actually abuse us. So those are crucial seconds that we step back and make sure that we don't give her too many trading opportunities. Another little trick and tip that we can do against LeBlanc is we can hold our Q until LeBlanc uses her W. Because otherwise if she sees our Q, she can actually just jump over it with her W. That's a strategy that I, when I play LeBlanc against Syndra, use a lot, and it's just make sure that the trades are extremely skewed towards LeBlanc's favor. What we have to understand about this lane is when it's even, we win. LeBlanc doesn't scale too well, and it's not that easy to play LeBlanc in the late game as Syndra, especially when it comes to front to backs. So the longer the lane goes, the better it is for us. Alright, so let's take a look at an example of Syndra versus LeBlanc. So ideally I'm going for the minion advantage right here. I'm playing as Graves, not too threatening jungle, and I want to abuse my bone plating to get some good quality trades off. I kind of messed up this first initial trade because I missed my Q and I kind of was a bit too passive with my bone plating, but it's still fine because I have the minion advantage. But what do we see? My Kha'Zix got invaded. And now I have to be very careful because I know that I'm most likely going to get ganked by Graves as a transition gank after two camps. So I got to be a bit more careful with the wave state. As we see, Graves indeed comes right here, so it's very good that I respect. That does mean that LeBlanc now has the minion advantage, but it's still fine. So right now, I used my E because I thought LeBlanc was going to jump in. She didn't, so I have to be careful for the next 10 seconds right now. But it's still completely fine because I got a lot of damage onto her. And right now I got my bone plating back up. So I know I can be aggressive with this bone plating. She jumps in, she gets a trade, but it actually deals no damage because of the bone plating. So this is the power of bone plating in a matchup like this. And now I can just chase her down with the Airy. And this is actually an amazing position. If I landed that Q, which I should have, it would have actually led to me being the kill and actually already being lane over. But right now, she's just gonna miss an entire wave, which is also really good for me. Since I still have teleport up, what I want to do right now is I'm in an amazing position. I just want to make sure that I can get a good reset off and trade a bit more with Leblanc, because I'm still at full resources and I get refill on my refillable potion whenever I reset. So I'm trading with her. I'm making sure that the wave is slow pushing into her. I crash this wave eventually. I do some more trading and I get a beautiful reset off with my TP. And right now Leblanc is really, really screwed. If we look at it theoretically, she has half resources. She used 2 of these corrupting potion stacks. So she's in a very awkward position. And that's perfect for me. Yes, I missed a few minions on this reset, but that's still completely fine. I've got full resources right now, so let's keep the trading up. I've been trading better than her entire laning phase. So I want to get this wave in because it's not the best position for me to be in. This is a very good E because I 1, clear the wave. I 2, hit Leblanc. And 3, the next 15 seconds, I'm not going to be under any kind of threat because she's still answering the wave. So I can afford to use E right here. Right now I have to be a bit more careful with my E usage afterwards. But I'm still in a very good position. I'm currently a level up, which should be about like 1/3 of an actual level. But right now I'll just let the wave come into me. I'm going to be hitting her with some more Qs, with some more abilities. And I want to make sure that she, on this bounce, has to take another bad reset. And if I'm able to do that, I'm actually in a massive position. So right here I hold my E for Leblanc's W forward. I don't hit my Q, but that's still completely fine. Leblanc's now just in generally a very rough position. The only thing I need to do is just thin out the wave. So use a few of my abilities onto the wave right here. And Leblanc gets desperate. She wants to get the wave in. She's so low right now that even if she jumps into me and to trade with me, doesn't really matter. I just kill her. So I am now able to use my E onto her in this matchup. I tin the wave. Leblanc also opts in for the reset and she misses another entire wave. Even more actually, and that's a big win in my book. So let's move on to the next champion. Alright, so the next matchup that we're going to take a look at is Ekko. So we can play both slow and fast against Ekko, depending on what we want to achieve with the lane. But we need to be using our early advantage on whatever style that we're playing for. So if you are not feeling comfortable, if you're not feeling confident, I would always opt in for Airy against an Ekko because of the fact that we get access to bone plating. And bone plating really messes up Ekko's trading patterns as well. It's a really good rune against him, and if Ekko usually wants to go for these EQ auto attack trading combos, if we miss tether, if we miss position, this rune really helps mitigate damage from this combo from him. So this rune page also allows us to bully him in the early lane. Ekko's first few levels are not the strongest, so we can definitely abuse this. Because what's going to be the main problem against Ekko? The main problem against Ekko is when he's able to get these trades upon us, and if we don't understand how his Q works and when we can actually play aggressively in this lane. Because once Ekko starts heavy trading onto us and he's getting these trades off, we are going to lose. Because an interaction that Ekko has is he can actually jump over our W in a way, our E, with his own E. Because his E is a bit of a teleport, and if he casts that upon us whenever we use our E, he actually jumps over it. So that's a pretty nasty interaction that we got to be very careful about. Especially when he has Rocket Belt as well. He can then jump towards us, then Rocket Belt behind us. So it's practically impossible to land our E against an Ekko. And that makes this matchup extremely hard, and therefore bone plating very, very good. So I would always opt in for Doran's Ring. Gives us a bit more strength early, a bit more health. Especially if we do not feel too comfortable into Ekko. So the mindset is definitely we want to be winning early. Also when we're playing the slow style. And the way we can do that is by 3-stack into a bounce, and then we try to hold the wave on our side after that to force him onto a bad reset. If we can get him onto a bad reset, we're in a very good position. So the main thing to keep in mind is that we do not want to get hit by Ekko's trading combo. It's all about Ekko Q cooldown. So Ekko's Q cooldown is 9 to 7 seconds. And what we have to understand is that it's mainly going to be around 9 or 8 seconds in the lane. So whenever he uses the Q on the minions, we have now 9 seconds to do something in the lane to pressure Ekko, to pressure him off the wave, whatever. But we have to understand that he's going to make a decision between either us or the wave. And if he goes for us, that means that his wave is going to be awkward. And if he goes for the wave, that means that we can now pressure him in lane. I'm going to be showing an example of this where Caps plays Syndra into Ekko, and he does this to the absolute perfection. So the main mindset that we can do with our trades is, as long as we take small wins, we should win out in the long run. And a final tip is that Banshees is actually a really good buy against Ekko because it messes up his trading pattern as well. So now let's take a look at an example of Syndra versus Ekko. Alright, so what we can see in this example is Caps actually goes for the slow style of Syndra, and he takes Sapphire Crystal Refillable. Really greedy, extremely greedy setup. But he actually manages to pull it off, and let's see how he does it. First of all, very, very good Q onto the Ekko right here. He knows that Ekko level 1 is not that dangerous, and he's looking to 3-stack, so he can just walk up, pressure the Ekko, and as long as we don't give him his passive proc, we should be completely fine. Throws in a few auto attacks here and there, and he's looking to just crash 3 waves into Ekko. Ekko tins the wave out a little bit. Beautiful spacing here by Caps, and he knows he can do this, by the way, because Ekko just uses Q onto the wave. He knows he can just walk up and bully him right here. So this is absolutely perfect spacing and trading from Caps right now. Now he knows, okay, Ekko is Q, he doesn't want to get traded upon, so he uses it now, and now he walks up. And it's completely fine if Ekko E's him, because that's not the main problem. An Ekko E is not the problem, it's the Ekko E Q auto attack, that's problematic. So he knows Ekko has Q up again, I gotta be careful, but what's most likely gonna happen? Most likely Ekko is gonna Q the wave again because he wants to CS, so Caps walks up and trade with him. Absolute perfection in usage of cooldowns. So right now, another beautiful Q, and we actually stack 3 waves, but because Ekko tins it a lot, it doesn't quite crash yet, but it's still fine, because right now we can still crash on wave 4 and have that massive wave stacked right here. This is going to happen more often than only in this game, and we're now just going to collect our CS, get a bit more trades onto this Ekko, and we're now in a very good position with our wave. Caps baits this Ekko beautifully. He knows that this Ekko wants to go for this combo, and Rakan is coincidentally there, so it's a massive play by Caps. Right now, just gonna let the wave come into us slowly but surely, and this is gonna pressure Ekko massively. Beautiful Q right here onto this last hit from the Ekko. Why can we walk up like that? Because Ekko just used this Q onto the wave. So we can see this beautiful understanding of threat versus when we're not under threat. And he's really pressuring Ekko through this and making him lose a lot of minions. So Ekko opts in for the reset. We opt in for the reset as well. We go for Lost Chapter, so we're in an amazing position right now. And Ekko used his Q on the wave. Perfect. We can now look to trade onto him. Awesome trade. Slightly take a bit too much minion damage, but it's still completely fine. Right now, we gotta be very careful that he doesn't like overforce these trades onto us. I mean, the E wasn't bad, but I think we just timed it not optimally because he's not really looking to CS something. But the idea of Eing here is not bad because we can tin the wave out and we're not really under any kind of threat. So I think the idea of Eing is good. The execution could just be a little bit better. Ekko wants to crash this wave, so the longer we can hold it here, the better it's going to be for us. So once again, Ekko uses Q right here. That means that we can now walk up and we can actually hold this wave. Because he messed up his Q, we can hold this wave. So this is beautiful. Beautiful stuff by Caps. And Ekko is just in such an awkward position right now. He's already down 10 CS, let alone the pressure in the lane. So Ekko actually opted for the reset because he was so low and he cannot crash this wave. So he's going to lose this wave again. And with this lead that we have, it's just a massive win in my books. Massive win in my books. So if we can consistently play an early lane like this, we will win out against Ekkos. Even though their champion kind of counters us in the mid to late game as well, there's stuff to do against that. But take this as a beautiful example of how to beat an Ekko as Syndra by understanding the mechanics of Ekko Q and avoiding him to take these good quality trades upon us. Let's move on to the next champion. Alright, so Syndra versus Viktor. We can play this matchup fast and slow, and I've divided it in two sheets because it's too different to combine it in one. So let's start with the fast play style. I would say we always go Corrupting Potion. There's going to be a lot of trading, so we need as many resource regeneration as we can. And we opt in for Second Wind. It's very good against poke champions, especially if they run Airy, Scorch, Corrupting Potion. We are going to be regenerating a lot of health in this lane, and we need it because we will be trading a lot. So the mindset is to play to win and dominate this Viktor, which we can do. But one thing that we need for that is we need to try and get the minion advantage. We can force that. We can either force that by high value Qs, getting more auto attacks on the minion wave, and therefore trading a bit of HP onto the Viktor. Because Viktor's Q is 9 seconds cooldown, it's not AoE. Our Q is 7 seconds cooldown and it's AoE. So we can get the minion advantage. And it's okay if we trade a little bit of HP for that, because we got a lot of resource regeneration. This then can lead to a tempo reset on wave 3, or we can let this lead to more bullying if we take good quality trades. If our trades were a bit meh, not necessarily, but then we kind of need to take a reset, because otherwise we're going to be too low on the bounce. But if we take very good trades, then we can actually bully the Viktor and opt in to force him onto a bad reset. This tempo reset stuff usually will also pretty much force him onto a pretty awkward reset. So a few things to keep in mind is our Q is slightly lower cooldown than this guy, so we can abuse that 2-second window. And another thing that we can do is we can tether Viktor Q with our Q. Our Q is slightly higher range, even though Viktor's Q is still very high range. We can slightly tether it if we space it correctly. And a nice little trick that we can do against Viktor is whenever he walks up to hit his Q, we can hit him with a QE, because whenever Viktor walks up and presses Q onto you, it's pretty linear movement. So Viktor is right here, we are right here. If he's going left, right, left, right, left, right, and then he's suddenly moving forward because he clicked Q on you, we can then just QE and punish him for it. One thing to keep in mind, we scale better. When do we win? Post Q upgrade, we should be winning against the Viktor. And also one more thing to keep in mind is we got more self-peel in our kit than this guy. So he's always under a bit more jungle pressure than us. So that's also something that's in our favor. Let's take a look at an example of fast lane into Viktor. Alright, so fast lane into Viktor. What do we see? This Viktor is walking up very aggressively. He's looking to heavy trade. This is what a lot of Viktors are going to do. But it's fine because I hit my Q both onto the Viktor and onto the minion wave. And right now I use this slight little window to use another Q onto the minion wave and start getting this minion advantage. So this is perfect. Right now, because I have the minion advantage, I can actually bully this Viktor a little bit. With auto attacks, I'm happy trading auto attacks because I regen more with Second Wind. I've got Corrupting Potion, so I want to be trading very heavy. And when Viktor is going for a CS or when he's standing still, I can look to punish with Q. Because I have the minion advantage, I get the level lead and I can then abuse that to get another very good quality trade. And it's already looking to be a massacre in the lane itself. So what I kind of make a mistake upon is I kind of push this wave a bit too fast. This allows Viktor to chill out and catch the farm here on the tower. I can still get a few good quality trades upon, but the wave is not really optimal for me. So right now I'm going to be trading a bit more, but as we can see, Viktor can retaliate. He's going to get the level ups as well. And I know, okay, I've got Corrupting Potion. This Viktor actually does not have Corrupting Potion. So I know that if I take a reset, I will be getting the resource advantage. And that's the goal in a lane like this, to get the resource advantage, because that leads to pressure. So get a final combination of, and I now duck into this bush, get the reset off, I come back, and yes, I miss one minion, but look at how this Viktor is now positioned, because this Viktor still needs to take a reset. I've got my full resources back, and the next wave is coming in, so we can already count right here. how many minions this Viktor is going to lose. Viktor lost 2 minions, I lost 1. That's already pretty decently because every single minion counts. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just let it crash, play with my range, and then we play with the bounce again. And with that bounce, we can start looking to take good quality trades onto this Viktor. And because we got Seapot and this guy got Doran's Ring, we're actually in a very, very good position. Next up, we got Syndra versus Viktor, the slow style. So when we're playing slow, we're playing to literally avoid the lane. Viktor wants to trade upon us. We gotta prevent him getting these trades in. So we can take Doran's because we're just playing to skill. We don't necessarily need Corrupting Potion because we're not really looking to trade. We just want to hit the last hits, stay healthy, and make sure that we get good quality resets. It's important that we get these resets off. So how are we going to do that? 2 ways. We can ideally let Viktor crash on wave 2. We can do that by forcing him to auto-attack the minion wave. He wants to get the minion advantage anyway. So if we step up to like maybe 1Q auto-attack, the minions will then start to hit him. I'll show this as an example as well. And that means that the wave will crash on wave 2. That means that the lane kind of gets avoided. So that's amazing for us. If that doesn't work out, we always got minion dematerializer. We can use minion dematerializer to force ourselves onto a good reset. It always works. And Viktor cannot really trade against that because he doesn't have the wave control at that point of the game just yet. So the main goal in this kind of lane is to just skill up, get to our Q upgrade, then we start winning. And before that, we want to stay healthy and get good quality resets off. So it's okay to drop a few CS here and there if that means that we stay a bit more healthy. We're mainly playing for the waves and just playing to skill. Let's take a look at an example. Alright, so in this example, I'm just letting Viktor get the minion lead right here. I'm just taking my distance right here because I don't want to be trading unnecessarily. I go for a very greedy Q, not the most optimal Q because this allows him to take this trade. But it's still fine because look at what the minions do right here. Because I let him take this trade right here, all these minions are going to start target him. And it means that my minion wave is going to die quicker comparatively to his minion wave. So that's amazing because right now this means that the wave will crash on wave 2. So I'm just taking my distance, not interacting, not trading. And I just want to make sure that I get this CS right here. Which I do, I get a Q. He trades back on top of me, but that's still completely fine because I just want to make sure that I get a good quality reset in. I walked a bit too far up there. There wasn't the minion to CS, so I got hit by E that wasn't really necessary. So let's play this out right now. Wave's gonna crash. I'm gonna be looking to CS. I'm gonna be looking to stay healthy, catch as many minions as I possibly can. And Viktor is still looking to bully me, and right now I'm already thinking on my first reset. How do I want to reset? Well, ideally I want to be resetting on at least 500 gold. So that way I can get a component for my lost chapter and refillable potion, because that's what I'm going to be needing in this lane. So he seems to be keeping up the minion pressure right here, which is completely fine because that means I can just sit back and CS, and I'm completely happy doing that. I don't mind using my abilities on the wave right here. Of course we can use it on the Viktor to get a good opportunistic trade, but because I kind of mess up my CSing, I need to compensate for that a little bit. I just catch these minions under tower right here. I reset. And from this point onward, I'm in a pretty happy position now. Viktor also is forced to take a reset because he has no mana anymore. Viktor has a lot of mana struggles, so we can definitely abuse that. I'm going to just be farming, and I can just play with bouncing waves right now, which is perfect. Now the wave's going to be bouncing back into me. I've been staying alive pretty decently, but right now I make one more mistake. I walk up too close. I should just walk back, give this creep, let Viktor walk up and do not take this trade. Then I would be in a completely fine position. But it's still okay because I know that I can use my minion dematerializer right here to force myself into a pretty decent reset. I use my ult for pressure. I get this wave in. And he cannot match the shove. Look. He's so stuck onto this cannon minion that he cannot match this shove. So even though I took a very bad trade, and I was in a pretty rough position, I can just force myself onto a free reset and get myself a lost chapter. And I still got a main dematerializer left for the next time that this happens, and I can just avoid the lane through that. So let me know if you guys have any questions about any of these matchups or any other matchup that you want my quick take on. I happily reply and give you guys the solutions to those matchups as well. I thank you all for watching, and I see you guys real soon with a new video, and I'm gonna do a Syndra Knight review probably. We're gonna definitely do a Syndra review, most likely going to be from Knight. So thank you all for watching, and I see you guys real soon. Bye bye.